This boy had just won an Indian Olympic bronze medal. When he returned home, hundreds of thousands of people lined up to welcome him. This stimulated the boy's imagination so much that he swore he would definitely win an Olympic gold medal in the future. When he went to school, he spoke about this lofty dream. As a result, everyone laughed and ridiculed him. His friends surrounded him and insulted him for his seemingly vain dream. But this did not diminish Nadan's will. He saw a class of athletes in front of him. Nadan immediately rushed to hug the teacher's leg and begged him, "Please train me. I wanted to win the Olympic wrestling championship." Seeing everyone laugh at him, he screamed, "If I don't win, no one will." The teacher, seeing the boy's great will, immediately agreed. From then on, Nadan began the process of hard training. He practiced with excitement, constantly attending wrestling class with the teacher. When he got home, he would ask his friends to join him for practice. Nadan trained diligently. Practicing for 12 years, he quickly became a young man. One day, the whole district had a wrestling organization with the biggest wrestlers coming to compete. The teacher wanted to choose someone to compete with the district chairman's son. Some suggested that Nadan be allowed to compete because they thought he was the weakest and would lose without pretending. At this time, the son of the district chairman was introduced to the ring. No one else dared to fight in for fear of displeasing the chairman, but Nadan volunteered to fight. Everyone thought he would lose and constantly taunted him. Unexpectedly, when the match began, people started throwing money, saying whoever won the match would receive that amount. This motivated Nadan greatly. He continuously neutralized his opponent's attacks and made sudden moves to turn the tables. The district chairman and the teacher began to fear what might happen. Nadan, remembering past insults, grabbed his opponent and declared, "From now on, no one can insult me anymore." He picked up his opponent and threw him on his back to the floor. Everyone cheered in amazement except for the district chairman, who had a dark expression. Nadan won the battle and immediately picked up the pile of coins. His brother quickly came and told him to run away, fearing retaliation for defeating the district chairman's son. Sure enough, the angry district chairman ordered his men to chase after Nadan with sticks. Nadan quickly fled, running towards a passing train. He jumped on the train to escape. A person on the train gave him advice. If he wanted to attend the Olympics, he should join the army. The next day, Nadan immediately enlisted. He'd worked hard to join the army, accepting all challenges to make his dream come true. He was overjoyed when the colonel said he had passed the exam. The discipline in the army strengthened his willpower even more. One evening, Nadan told everyone about his Olympic dream, but a soldier laughed at him. Annoyed, Nadan attacked the other soldier. As a result, the colonel punished him with 1,000 push-ups and told him to leave the next day. As Nadan was packing his luggage to go home, he screamed while being punished and refused to leave the army, saying, "I must bring a gold medal back to India." His determination once again touched the colonel's heart, who told him, "Meet me tomorrow morning at the boxing gym." The next day at the barracks, Nadan went to the boxing gym. The coach only agreed to accept him if he could hit their best athlete within 1 minute. Nadan bravely put on armor and fought in the ring. Despite his lack of technique, he managed to land an accurate shot in the final seconds, passing the test. Immediately accepted, he started training intensely. While others did 1 repetition, he did 2, without a minute's rest. Thanks to his will and effort, his body quickly became strong. With muscles like steel and great speed, he defeated all the boxers in the army and won the gold medal in the boxing competition. The next day, the general announced that 6 people representing the Indian Army would go to Tokyo to compete in the International Military and Martial Arts Tournament. The whole group quickly went to Tokyo, and the coach accompanied them to watch the fighters practice. The fighters in this tournament came from the armies of 55 countries. They were all skilled martial artists, but Nadan didn't care. He'd only paid attention to a beautiful female reporter. Nadan's first match was against a formidable fighter. Thanks to good application of the coaching staff's instructions, Nadan successfully defeated his opponent. His close friend also continued to win. The more Nadan saw the female reporter, the more motivated he became. Other opponents were forced to the floor by the end of the day. Nadan was featured in the newspaper because of his impressive achievements. The reporter also came to congratulate him, making him fall for her. On the second day of the match, Nadan's friend encountered a fierce opponent and ended up being knocked down. The Indian reporter came to congratulate the winner. Nadan and his friend were extremely bitter. Seeing this, Nadan angrily broke a plate. The other opponent laughed at him, making Nadan even more determined to defeat him in the upcoming semi-final. Before the semi-final, Nadan took the initiative, but the opponent was too strong. Because of his hatred, Nadan forgot the strategy and completely ignored the coach's words. He was nearly forced to the floor, but managed to stand up in time. However, he was so weak that he could only stand and let the opponent beat him until he was numb. At the end of the round, the coach scolded him and forced him to let go of his anger and focus on the match. Nadan followed the strategy to get results, and his opponent exchanged fair moves. But thanks to better tactics, Nadan successfully defeated his opponent. He looked at the reporter with satisfaction after the match and went for an interview. The coach went to watch the other semi-final match. He was surprised to discover that the opponent was so perfect that everything from his body to his attacks were superior to Nadan. He easily defeated his opponent to enter the final, making the coach extremely worried. The coach sat for hours without finding a way to overcome this challenge. Late that night, Nadan arrived. The coach warned him, "If you don't listen to me, we'll lose this match." The next day, the final took place. As expected, Nadan was exhausted by the opponent's pressure while the coach was worried. Nadan looked at the reporter and wanted to show off, eager to win but not listening to the coach's words. As a result, he was trapped and got hit hard, lying on the floor completely defeated. A few months later, while stationed at the border, Nadan suddenly received an invitation to attend the Olympics. The coach was skeptical about training him, but as soon as the instructor left, suddenly enemy planes rushed in and bombed them. The sudden raid caused their troops to panic. The war at that time was extremely fierce. The coach was hit by bullets. Nadan was in extreme danger and had to flee. A bomb blast threw both of them. The coach was dying. Nadan wanted to get rescue supplies but was hit by 9 bullets in his body. The word Olympic still echoed in his head before he fainted. After the war, Nadan was in a coma for 2 years in the hospital. When he woke up, he shed tears of pain, realizing he was paralyzed on half his body. The doctor said it was because there was a bullet lodged near his spine that needed surgery to remove in order for him to recover. The next day, Nadan was taken to the hospital in a wheelchair. Unexpectedly, the doctor said that the bullet had been left for too long and could not be removed, which meant that Nadan had to accept paralysis of his lower body. Thinking about his Olympic dream made him cry. How could a passionate person accept this truth? He couldn't even control his urination and defecation. The harsh reality made Nadan cry all afternoon on the beach. That night, his friend helped Nadan buy a lottery ticket. After his friend left, Nadan saw the results and, in despair, took several handfuls of sleeping pills. Unexpectedly, his friend rushed back to tell Nadan that he had won $1 billion in the lottery. Nadan quickly vomited the sleeping pills. The next day, Nadan went to receive the prize. The organizer said he was truly chosen by fate, as no one had won this prize in 10 years. At that moment, Nadan realized he had a new purpose. If he couldn't be a normal athlete, he could participate in the Paralympics. It's never too late to become a champion. It's not about defeating your opponent, but about defeating the voice in your head that wants to give up. From that day on, Nadan practiced like crazy. He didn't know how to swim yet, so he needed extra help with physical training. His coach was still the same teacher from years ago. Thanks to intense training, several years passed, and Nadan started swimming like a fish. One day, the sports committee called Nadan to say they didn't want to register him for the Paralympics because the border war had caused them to run out of sponsorship money. Years of training had made Nadan cry. You don't want to sponsor disabled athletes. I didn't know that because of the war, I had to be like this. These words made the sports committee reconsider. The next day, while Nadan was practicing swimming, the coach brought news that in a few days, Nadan would be sent to participate in the Paralympics in Germany. However, on the first night there, a group of armed men broke into the athletes' village. Hearing gunshots, Nadan fell down the stairs in fear. The next morning, he discovered he was injured. An armed group had targeted 11 athletes, so the Paralympic Games had to be moved to another location. At the new location, Nadan started competing in swimming. In the first qualifying round, there were 6 athletes with better results than Nadan. He needed to be in the top 4 to get to the next round. Because of his paralyzed legs, he was always behind initially. Halfway through, he was still in last place. The coach was worried he would be eliminated, but Nadan, who had faced guns and bullets, wasn't afraid. In the second half, he accelerated incredibly and finally reached parity with the 4th-place swimmer. They finished at the same time, creating tension as everyone waited to see who would advance. Nadan made it to 4th place and moved on to the second round. The next day, the top 3 would be selected for the final round. Nadan started last but swam with all his might in the second half. As a result, he hit his head on the pool wall at the finish line but managed to rank 3rd in advance. The next morning, when the coach couldn't wake Nadan, he discovered blood on the pillow from the head injury. The coach wanted him to give up, fearing for his life, but Nadan refused, determined to fight for his dream and for all those who had been ridiculed like him. In the final round, Nadan started behind due to his paralyzed legs. He faced insults and remembered past defeats, but also saw his childhood self cheering him on. Energized, Nadan swam wildly, surpassing his opponents. In the last few seconds, he closely followed the leader and finally touched the pool wall first, creating a new record and becoming the first person from India to win a Paralympic gold medal in swimming. Nadan's dream was realized that day. This inspirational story is based on true events. In his old age, Nadan was recognized as a national hero who inspired the spirit of perseverance and the strength to overcome all obstacles to reach success. Thanks for watching this recap. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to comment below and tell me what movie or series you want me to recap next.